Now, back live with Alan Jones.
Well, thank you for being with us tonight, with Peter and with me. This is very important because the headlines today everywhere was talk that Pauline Hanson was about to sink the Prime Minister's tax plan. And she simply cited disappointment with the government's strategy on debt reduction, saying the budget was built on eggshells and could, quote, crash at any time. These are very valid points. You see, we've just seen wage growth virtually negligible. That surely means personal tax take won't increase. That means the budget will be further out of kilter, and it's only a week old. Pauline Hanson said she believed the corporate tax package, which is in the never-never, 2026-27, and she said she was unconvinced it would stimulate job creation. And as she said, well, if they're serious about it, start doing something. She said the government's taking 6 to 8 years down the track, and that's not good enough. But there are other issues that she raised, and these are very, very significant. Pauline Hanson's strength is she talks to people and she listens to people, and she's articulating what they are telling her. Pretty easy way to do your research. She's on the line from Hobart. Pauline, good evening and thank you for your time.
My pleasure, Alan. Thank you for having me on.
Pauline, I might just address my first question to Peter because she's been in the scene many times. Peter, I don't understand the coalition. In the last couple of days, we've had people within the coalition demonising Pauline Hanson's party, arguing that in these by-elections that are coming up, we'll put one nation last, and then in the next breath say, oh, come on, Pauline, we want you to support our tax reform package and we want you to give us your preferences in the by-election.
Correct. Oh, look, I 100% agree with you. I would be wanting to see the Labor Party last. The Labor Party are the natural enemy or natural opponent of the Conservative side of politics. Pauline Hanson is not there. To be fair, the Greens aren't there either. None of them can actually take government from you when you are the coalition, but the Labor Party can. So I would be...
So, Pauline, having said that, Pauline, I mean, how do you take this when, on the one hand, they're wanting you to support the tax reform, they're wanting you to give the preferences to them when the by-elections come around, and then you read the headlines, we must put Pauline Hanson's one nation last, we must demonise Pauline Hanson, don't have anything to do with her. What's your view to all that?
What's happening in Queensland is the leakage out of the National Party and the Liberal Party towards One Nation. They know that they're facing a hell of a hiding because their members are fed up with them. They've sat back and taken the voters and the people of Queensland for granted, and I'm hearing that all around Australia. So people are fed up with the major political parties. They're looking for someone who's going to represent them with truth and honesty and integrity on the floor of Parliament. And this is their real problem. Instead of working with me, as I've tried to work with the government. If Labor was in government, I'd try to work with them as well for the best policies, the best legislation for the people of Australia. But they see me as the enemy, and that's not the case. It's about we should be all working together for the people.
Well, now, on a couple of issues that you've raised, not just tax, I mean, you gave a commitment to them that you should support the company tax. You made a very valid point, did you not, that if Donald Trump can achieve tax reform almost immediately, you're saying, why are we waiting until 2026? That's your concern, is it?
That's exactly right. And I did say that to Matisse Cormann. He said they couldn't afford it. And that was giving businesses the incentive to work towards in 8 years' time. I couldn't see any common sense in that whatsoever. You know, Alan, the company tax cuts, and I supported the government's up to $50 million turnover, and I fully support that, and I don't regret doing that. But to make it unlimited, and on reflection now of the budget that has just been passed, I don't believe it is a smart move. Now, the budget is not going to address the black hole. As Scott Morrison always said, it's not about revenue, it's about the spending. Government has not reined in their spending.
No, they haven't.
But I've been trying to point out to the Prime Minister, hi Peter, yes, I've been trying to point out to the government, yes, that they've actually got to look at bringing revenue back into the country, and they're reluctant to do it. I see both sides protecting their mates at the big end of the scale, the multinationals. None of them have really gone out to attack the multinationals, and I've had a gutful, and I'm going to bring it to the attention, and I want the multinationals to pay their fair share of tax in this country, and let's get the royalties and the PRRT tax that we should be getting from the Northwest Shelf.
You're right. Well, now, Pauline, you could, I suppose, say that Peter Credlin would say that, wouldn't she? Alan Jones would say that, wouldn't he? Pauline Hanson would say that, wouldn't she? But the Institute of Public Affairs are hardly apologists for the Labor Party. And they are a very strong conservative entity. In the latest newsletter from the Institute of Public Affairs this week, this is what the newsletter says of the budget. This budget is the highest taxing, spending and debt budget in Australia's history. Over the past decade, under both the Coalition and Labor, government debt has risen by an eye-watering 380%. Now, you're the only person that I've seen in recent times who've said, well, I'm sorry, unless you address this, and you've made the very valid point, it is a spending issue. There's a stack of revenue. I mean, they're talking about the fact that when they eliminate the 37 cents in the dollar tax bracket, 94% of Australian taxpayers will only be on 32.5 cents in the dollar. Add the Medicare levy, that's 34.5. So you work all January, all February, all March, all April before you get to keep a quid. It's still too high, isn't it?
Of course it's too high, Alan. But look, with the personal tax cuts, I can relate to Australians need a break. But this personal tax cuts are going to cost us $140 billion. With the corporate tax cuts, another $65 billion. Where is the money coming from? I can't see it. So something has to give. It's either we actually then turn around, and my fear is they're going to say, oh, look, we haven't got the money to run the country. We're going to have to put up the GST. Well, they'll never get my support with that. They've got to prove to the people they are good managers of our money, and I've never seen that happen on both sides. In my own household, years ago, trying to rear 2 kids, I didn't have enough money to feed the kids at one stage there. But I had to tighten my belt and make sure the kids were fed. And it's about time the government did that with the taxpayers' dollars, because if they don't rein in the monies that we owe overseas, they're going to come back and say to us, we want your resources, we want your ports, we want your airports, because you can't pay us. And everything that, you know, past generations and now the generations here are paying for and worked so hard for, our freedom and our way of life, will be gone like that because of bad government.
Absolutely right.
And I'm not going to sit back. I'm in a position now because I take this job very, very seriously. And if I do not speak up now in the position that I hold, then I am going to regret this for the rest of my life. And I'm going to have my say. If people don't support me, fine. Don't vote for me or One Nation in the next election. But if you do, get behind us, because we need more people like myself to prepared to take it up to the government and the opposition and say, do something.
Well, see, the great virtue, if I say to our viewers, of this woman, you've just understood every word she said. Whereas that other mob talk in slogans and jargon, when you talk about debt, $600,000 million. $600,000 million. When Costello left, there was a surplus. $600,000 million. Over 50% of that is owned by foreign entities. Now, Pauline just made the point, well, one day they might come in and say, well, we want X, Y and Z. You also had a bit to say about coal-fired power. And you're asking the government to get active there and guarantee coal-fired power. Electricity prices are going through the roof. Could we get a view from you on that?
Correct. Correct, Alan. I've been on about a new-fired coal-powered station in North Queensland, which we need. The Malcolm Turnbull and the Libs campaigned that in the last Queensland state election and, you know, led to, you know, some sort of saying, yes, we're interested in it, but not a word of it in the budget. Corporate tax cuts is not what we need now. Reduce the energy costs to the everyday people out there, plus the manufacturing industry, small business. They cannot cope with it. I've spoken to businesses. They are going to be shutting down, and you're going to lose jobs, or they'll go overseas.
This is correct.
The biggest issue facing this country is the power costs. Wake up to themselves, build a coal-fired power station. If not, don't be hypocrites and sell the coal overseas to other countries. We have the resources here. Utilise them.
Pauline, 100% agree with you. and you've got the government over a barrel in the Senate on a number of issues where you can negotiate. One of the things that concerns me, looking at the debate on this clean energy guarantee, this national energy guarantee that Josh Frydenberg says will solve everybody's energy woes, is there is no detail about the numbers that go into his model. He's talked to the party room in loose terms about what he's proposed. He says the party room have ticked it off. Everyone I've spoken to in the party room saying that's not the case. We've agreed in principle. We're still waiting for the detail. There's documents out there on a business case. They're all redacted. You open them up, they're just black lines everywhere. They won't give you the detail. Now, I understand that the states and territories will be taken into the confidence of the government. They will sign this off, and then the parliament will get it as a fait accompli. You'll be asked to endorse something that everybody else around the country has seen, but not the federal parliament. And I think it's going to come at you before the next election. So this is where your stand on coal-fired power is really important.
Well, I mean, Pauline,
very important. Yeah.
It's a crisis. You're absolutely right. I mean,
immigration. You can go on. You can go on and on and on. You know, they base their whole budget around immigration.
Yes.
1.4% GDP, and it's propping it up. And that they've got to reduce the numbers. People are screaming out. Our way of life, our standard of living is dropping. And for Lucy to say, "Oh, Sydney's going to take more people," oh, you might have your standard of living, Lucy Turnbull I'm talking about. She's got her standard of living and her way of life. Many Australians don't have that, and I don't think she's in a position to say whether Sydney is full or not full.
Good on you. Now, just
I cannot believe that.
No, you're right.
Believe.
It's the elephant in the room. Population policy. It's the elephant in the room. But just a couple of other things. Yep. The payment. Who should pay for the Banking Royal Commission? You've made a point about that as well.
The banks. The banks have to pay for the Royal Commission. Now, I have mentioned this and spoken about it even at the very beginning. I said the banks should actually pay for this and compensation to the people, and which it should happen. Now, I know there have been former Royal Commissions, but they've been on different issues with the unions. It's been about, you know, the kids up in Northern Territory and what's happened there, the abuse, but this is totally different. This has been crimes committed by the banking sector and the financial sectors. They should actually be paying for it, not the taxpayer. And I wish the Prime Minister would make a decision and say, make them pay for this, not the taxpayers.
Yes, and the compensation fund should have been set up before this Royal Commission.
Yep.
As you know, Pauline, you're talking to farmers and battlers out there. They're on the bare bones of their backside. They've lost everything. They've been dudded by many of these financial advisors to the banks, and there seems to be no opportunity for them to see any redress. We're always running out of time here. I just want to go right back to the beginning. So when you move around the country and talk to people, if you had to say 3 issues dominate when they say, now, Pauline, and there's 3, what 3 issues keep coming up to you?
Okay. The rising cost of electricity and running their businesses, immigration, and also the family law courts. I was able to get the review into the Family Law Act, which is happening at the moment. I believe that due to the Senate inquiry we had into the banking sector, we've actually got the Royal Commission, and I'm going to Melbourne tomorrow to the Royal Commission to back those people, show them support, because through my office we've been able to save a lot of people being foreclosure on their properties, and we're still working with a lot more families. So
will you be speaking at the Royal Commission? Will you be speaking at the Royal Commission tomorrow?
No, I'm not speaking.
There.
I'm going there to give support to the people that are turning up to the Royal Commission tomorrow in Melbourne, and show my support. And, you know, they've got to go further into it with liquidators, administrators and receivers, and they need to investigate mortgage insurance. That is another rip-off there.
Good on you. So great to talk to you, Pauline. Keep at it. Keep at it. Good on you. And one piece of advice.
Thanks,
one piece of advice, by the way, to the Liberal National Party who want to sort of put you last on the ticket. What do you say to Senator O'Sullivan and others?
You know what? I'm going to inform the people that they own the preferences, not the political parties, not even One Nation. You own your vote. Make sure you know where to put it.
Good on you.
Control your own vote and your own destiny.
Well done, Pauline. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, Pauline Hanson. That's the difference. Well, that's the difference, isn't it? You know, she's out talking to people. That's exactly what they're talking about. I remember I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I came out of hospital last year. I've been on for 4 or 5 months, And the first thing I did was the energy issue, because I said I thought it was the greatest crisis facing this country since Federation, with the exception of war. And Pauline is right, there are businesses now closing as a result of the unaffordability of energy. And we've got...
closing now, and this tax cut is 10 years away.
10 years away. And here we have we are the greatest producer of energy, raw materials in the world. We're exporting our coal so that China, Japan and India can have cheap power and we can't. Don't make sense. All right, we'll take a break. And after the break, another monumental issue facing us in this country which affects the productivity of the country, and that is this whole question of apprenticeship. Stay with us. We'll be back after the break.
This is Jones & Co. on Sky News Live.